Well, folks, happy Tuesday if you're live with us on LinkedIn and YouTube, and happy Friday if you're driving around or working at your desk in Richmond, Virginia. Thank you so much for tuning in, and you are tuning in. My name is Mike Asherbrenner. If you don't know me yet, proud and humble leader of the Hounds of Business community and professionally known as the Redneck Connector. Yeah, you heard that right. That's a real thing. So we are today, folks. I'm excited because I get to go and interview the one and only Janice Debo. All right. And our theme today, connect, convert, cash in. All right. The Power Player's Guide to Profitable Networking. And I think she found me, and thank goodness she did, because birds of a feather flock together. I'm the redneck connector teaching master attracting, and boy, she gets it. All right. It's like meeting another champion ping pong player, folks. So take notes, get ready. All right, pull out the notepad or whatever it is you kids use nowadays, and we're going to get started, folks. Glad you're here.
Looks like your business might be in a bit of a pickle. Don't you worry about a thing. You ain't alone in this. You're just a success story waiting to happen. Trust me on that. Every bump in the road is just an opportunity wearing a clever disguise. Welcome to the Hounds of Business community, where we don't just sit around twiddling our thumbs. Nope. We turn those obstacles into mighty fine stepping stones. This here's a place where high-level entrepreneurs and sharp professionals gather to grow their businesses and mindsets, kind of like how a good old gumbo needs the right ingredients to be something special. Ideas thrive here, and collaborations, well, they're as natural as sweet tea on a hot day. Success, it's a journey, and we're fixing to walk that road right beside you. Now, don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn for all the latest tips and insights. We're talking about the kind of wisdom that'll keep you ahead of the game. And while you're at it, head on over to our YouTube channel. We've got ourselves a treasure trove of videos, from expert interviews to webinars, everything you need to stay sharp in this fast-moving world of business. The Hounds of Business community? Well, we ain't just a network, we're a movement. So why not come on and be part of something bigger? Join us today and let's turn your business journey into a real Southern success story. Together, we'll achieve greatness. Just like crawfish and singing on a Friday night.
All right, folks. Well, thank you for tuning in to Mike King Biz Radio on ESPN 106.1 RVA FM, folks. Let's bring her on up. There she is. I don't have a soundboard because I don't need one, but hey, I'll be your soundboard. How are you today?
I'm doing great. This is so much fun to be a Southern girl with well, you're sort of Southern. You're definitely redneck. I'm from the South.
Yeah, you do know about crawfish and singing on a Friday night. That's why I didn't say it. I only say it to our northern guests and internationals. So I'm so glad you are here. Wow, because it is. It's Usain Bolt doesn't get challenged much, or find someone in that wheelhouse, and that's not a cocky talk. It's just you already do the things I talk about, like the values, the who. We're going to get into this, folks, because market, if you're a coach, guide, expert, consultant, small business owner, entrepreneur, we're often led to believe that this stuff's elusive and you have to have some special, advantage or something. Listen, I'm not going to speak for Janice, but I had dirt growing up. I had to figure things out, and I knew what I wanted. I knew what I didn't, but I didn't know how to get what I want. So that's why we're having this show, Janice. So thank you so much. And you connect people like fence post to barbed wire, right? Over 20 years.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So think about that little oak tree and that big oak tree. She's been doing this way longer than me, folks. So I'm excited. So tell us, if you don't mind, how you went from just making sales to teaching others to build relationships that stick to mud like tractor tires.
It's a really fun story, because I did have many, many years. I went from just being a regular salesperson, if you will, to relationship selling from a little book I found in a bookstore back when I was just kind of a newbie in the sales business. And I was doing it the old-fashioned way. And so I found relationship selling there. But after I got to Oregon, my former spouse and I bought a business. Well, that put me back out in the marketplace because it was online and I had to get the word out. But in trying to get the word out about what I was doing, I met a gentleman that I was connected with by another person. So this works, guys. This works. It may not be a first party connection. Second, this was a third party connection. And Anyway, this gentleman and I were having coffee. He said, let me record a little video. Well, he did that. And he said, you can get paid for what you really do. I looked at him. I had the deer in the headlights, and most of you should know what that means. If you haven't heard of that, look it up. It's fun. But I was staring at him like, the people don't pay for what I do. What are you talking about? He said, connecting people. I said, okay. I don't know how that works. So he took me under his wing, got me started with a website, and said, just keep doing what you're doing. Find a guinea pig to get started coaching. So he coached me into the business of coaching.
I love that. Not to take same experience, Janice. I had a mentor and encourager just come out of nowhere, kind of like Yoda, right? And say, hey, did you know you could do that? And same response. Had no clue. I had no clue that somebody would actually pay for this, right? Or that it was that useful. I love the honesty. But go ahead.
No, that's the end of this. Well, not the end. That was the beginning of this story 8 years ago. And recently I reached out to him to reconnect because I want him on my podcast. And we're going to do that. But he's a full-time fisherman back out on the high seas, and said, well, better wait till I get back in from the summer. So anyway, yep.
Yeah. And that's the thing about it, folks. When you do this and form real relationships, they don't usually go anywhere. They never expire. There's no expiration date, right, Janice? Like you have people that turn into fierce advocates. It's not even referrals. It's people who can't stop talking about you when the occasion rises. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you on that note, I got to ask, what, in your estimation, what's the biggest mistake you see folks making when they try to network?
Oh, this is a real, there's a saying for that. It's something that I really hate to see people doing because it's been done to me. And that is talking about themselves. It's like, I get to talking to you and I'm like, okay, I do this and I do that and I do the other. And I don't ask you any questions. That is the biggest mistake you can make in a relationship building, whether it's professional or personal.
Yeah, I call that, okay, radio people, with a P, pitch slapping, right? And DM spam. And here's my favorite, Janet, if you don't mind, not to put you on the spot. Here's my favorite, because I'm all over platforms like LinkedIn, Alignable. And so my favorite is, hey, thanks for liking my post 6 hours ago. What did you like most about me and it? Right. Yeah, that's my favorite, because listen, if you don't do it in dating, you probably shouldn't do it in marketing, right? That'll change your whole life from networking right there. But that
will.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite no?
My favorite no? Well, I've done this more on LinkedIn than others, because I'll have somebody reach out, make the connection, and within a half a second, I'm getting a message from them trying to sell me something on their services. And more than once, Mike, I have said, you don't even know me. Have you looked at my website? Do you even know what I do? And I rarely hear back after that.
Yeah, bald people getting sold haircuts. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. Like me, and I'm not taking it was Tanya Eberhardt, brand face, right? She saw me and went, oh my God, that guy, I can help him. So, and then I get DMs saying, do you need help with your brand? I'm like, do I look like I need help with a lot of other stuff, right? but not this. And so we joke, but it's real. It happens too much all day long, folks. And, even if you're good at it, you look like everybody else. And that's why I like working with Janice, and I love having her in the Hounds of Business community, because we seriously invest in each other. There's no sales pitch needed when you master this. Really isn't. Yeah, you talk about your stuff, but they're ready. So let me jump into a little bit.
Okay.
You have this thing called the Path Elements Framework, right?
Mm-hmm.
Break it down for us folks like me, being regular folk, right? Is it like knowing what bait works better for which fish? Like, tell us what this is.
Well, the Path Elements is based on the elements of the earth, Mike, and it's water, wind, fire, and earth. Yeah. It's like you think earth, wind, and fire, but you got to add water in there. So
gotcha.
It's based on that. And I have an assessment that I give my clients to find out what their strengths are. My strengths are my biggest strength is water, and then followed by wind. And I just say, well, I can be a hurricane if you want to mix the two together. So there are other ways to phrase it, but everybody has a primary element, which mine is water, and a secondary, which is wind. So I scale down. The lowest for me is earth. Earth is very, as you might, very founded, very, let's just say, CPAs, bookkeepers, people in that category are typically earth, because they that's how they think, is bottom line. Fire, typically leaders. Not that we can't be leaders if we're waters, because I am. But fire, typically they make really good leaders and business owners, because they're just go-getters. And you're probably a fire, Mike. If I had to put a label on you, you're probably fire.
Wildfire. Yeah.
Wildfire. Yeah, probably a little wind behind that fire.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and gasoline.
Gasoline, yeah. So that's what the path is. It's based on those elements, and that helps me work with people. I get to see how they best respond and where they best function.
So, that might have sounded a little funny to me had I not understood it. I had a conversation similar to that. So correct me if I'm wrong, right? You're talking about the nature of folks, right? Like, what's their natural state of being? Right. And this is what I like about you. You're not teaching dogs to meow and cats to bark, right? You're saying, hey, listen, if you're an introvert, be the best introvert. I had that conversation with a lady. She kept being told she had to be more extroverted. Who told you that? You're water. You're a little tsunami, right? And I love that mentality. So you go and find out before you start teaching tactics to people and say, do this, do that, because that's the daggone problem, is that everybody's using the wrong tool for the job. You stop and say, listen, we're going to find out who you are and then build the tactics and the methods around it. Is that right?
That's correct.
Oh, absolutely. Sweet Jesus. Good. Finally. All right, so I'm not alone. No, not just, but it really does do a lot for me to realize, hey, not only am I doing it, I'm attracting other folks like you who've been doing it before I was doing it, right? That, the world needs this, because other people, here's why we're harping on this, folks. Other people, and you might be out there listening, this might be you. You think you're defective. Well, I tried this method from this guru or this person or that class and this course, and so I must stink at networking and business and lead gen and sales because it ain't working for me. No, Janice is here telling you no. You're just, somebody's trying to get that dog to meow here. So I want y'all to understand, and go to Janice Debo, Debo. So Janice is normal spelling Janice, Debo.com. All right, go find out. She's got resources and things all over that place. Get to know this lady. There ain't no selling it. She's got stuff. If you want it, great. If not, great. It's the most attractive thing ever, right? So let me see. I'm going to give Mike King a shout out. Mike King, I wanted to shout you out, my friend. They put him on the Jumbotron at basketball games, right? And he don't pay. No, he's just a good man. He pushes up his community, his nonprofits, his business community. And now he's going out even further. That's why he and I, right, in the Hounds of Business, now we get this reach out there. So don't do it alone, folks. If you're out there with a passion and a drive and you're willing to put in the work and all the things that go with it, don't do it alone. All right. Tap into the resources, support, and people that can help you get this done in your way. All right. And if we're not the way at the Hounds of Business, we'll find you somebody. All right. We have no ego. I'm just wanting to see people do it. Right. Just like Janice wants to see people go out there and connect with people, bring value. So you can find us at Hounds of Business on YouTube. You can find me, Mike Asherbrenner, on LinkedIn, Redneck1, or shoot me a carrier pigeon. All right. So thank you, Mike King, for all you do. Love our partnership. And I told you it went fast, Janice. All right. So let's skip ahead of this a tiny bit.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
The courage piece. Whoa, I'm going to have to be quiet on this, right? So you got a journal, right? It's called Courage, Confident Connections.
I do.
Yeah. So tell us about that, and how does putting the pen to paper help somebody who is shy as a possum in the daylight, right? How they can make meaningful connections.
It helps to start writing your thoughts out. I really believe I started journaling 30 some years ago, I think, many, many years ago. I've got 35 journals sitting here right beside me to prove it.
Wow.
And it helps to process. If you're hesitant to meet people, start writing to yourself. Get to know yourself. And truly, when you get to know yourself, it's easier to get to know other people.
It woo, we could do a 5-hour show on that one. It
Because
really is. Understand yourself, right?
Mhm.
And if you're not happy with some aspects, work on that. Janice, true or false? Your networking, your sales pitch, your fill in the blank, all that amplifies and gets better when you are comfortable, right? If you give a sales pitch and you don't believe you, how are they going to believe you? If you network and you can't have confidence in what you do and who you are, well, of course they're going to act weird, right? Have you seen that phenomenon over your career?
I have. I have. I think a lot of it comes down to people are they're trying to get confidence by just faking it. Like I think you mentioned that at some point.
I did it.
But yeah, but people, it's not a fake it till you make it. It really doesn't work that way. If you don't know yourself and you don't know your strengths and your gifts, what you really are good at, how can you connect with other people? How? And and if you're not interested in those other people too, that's the big downfall.
You ain't kidding. Oh, I got a story for. I had to put on my short video. I don't want to get kicked off radio for it, but it is the funniest, truest story on that note. Like, don't try to be something you're not. And
Right.
so let's talk about why that, because it comes down to confidence and courage, right?
Mhm.
And you and I was blown away. I said, "Oh my gosh, you pretty much said what I say verbatim, right?" My mantra is courage before confidence.
Mhm.
Because people are like, how'd you have the confidence to put your hat on? I had courage to look like a donkey if that was if that was going to take, right? So you mentioned this, courage over comfort, right? Can you share with the listeners a time where you had to choose that scary path and took it instead of the easy route when you had to take
Oh, oh boy, yeah. Do I have a story? Like I said, I'm from North Carolina. I've been in Oregon for 15 years, but I left North Carolina, was going to go by myself, travel across country, never done anything like it. I had two cats at the time. And I was just I had everything either in storage or in the trailer behind me. And I was planning on doing this by myself till a really good friend stepped up to take the trip with me. And that that I didn't even realize it was courage at the time. And I think a lot of times we don't know that we're using courage. But when I drove out of North Carolina, thankfully my friend with me, I look back and say I could not have done that by myself. It took a lot of courage to think I was going to do it by myself, but I didn't. She was there. And looking back, that was probably one of the most courageous things I've ever done. I was a good driver. I'd been a professional driver. That was not a problem. But with two cats and, pocket full of money, let's just go hit the road. That was not me.
right. So did you celebrate that?
Yes, I did. And I especially celebrated when she said she was going with me because that just took a, my heart was, I was dealing with a situation I had to get away from, but I determined I wasn't running from, I was traveling towards my future.
Yeah, see, and again, back to the foundation that Janice was talking about, folks. Build your own foundation. Understand who you are. Define success for yourself. Who am I wanting to work with? What purpose do I serve? Those things, and don't just write them down to get like you're taking SATs or something, right? Like, meditate on them. Take them seriously. Ponder
Mhm.
these things. Go explore them. All right, because this is a journey. Nobody's got the answer. But what Janice has, right? What we have is we're the guides. We fell off the cliff 600 times, so we don't want you to do that, right?
Yeah,
So,
we want to go help you avoid those pitfalls, big ones
yeah,
and little ones.
yeah, Janice failed more times than you've tried, and that's nobody wants to go through months and years of figuring it out. Just go plug into someone who can help you accelerate, because then you get entrepreneur fatigue, right? It's a real
Yeah.
thing. You keep doing the same stuff. It's sad.
Mhm.
So,
Exactly.
yeah, and so talk about that. Let me switch gears a little bit because I want folks to
Okay.
know you're not just coming out of this. You just didn't say, "Oh, I want to be a connector." So you have been serving on the board of directors with Redmond Economic Development for a long time. Redmond Economic Development for years. How has that community service, right? Because that's not a small thing. Right? How does that tie into building, a person's own business? What skills did you learn that really helps you help other people build their business and network well?
Well, being on boards of directors helped me to see things from a different perspective, especially in economic development. I'm not on the board now. I was for 5 years, and that was a long commitment.
Mhm.
It helps to make those connections because people on boards, they're not networkers. I found that out.
Yeah.
They weren't
No, we
natural.
know.
They weren't natural networkers, and that was a disappointment because and I reached out repeatedly trying to connect with folks, but I learned that they were there for a different purpose. And what I learned about economic development was how Redmond was trying to prepare for growth, and where our place in the whole economic development of Oregon was. It was a great experience, and I was selected for a thing called Leadership Redmond. Is how I even got on the board, and that was an amazing experience. I did get to meet some wonderful people, but I already knew a lot of people, so
Right.
I knew most of the ones in there. So boards of directors, don't go into those unless you know what you're getting into, because they can take your time. They may
Mhm.
not be the best. Yeah.
Yeah, well, see that's the thing about it. You know these things. You're like, hey, don't use a screwdriver, right, to
Mm-mm.
hammer in a nail kind of situation. And
Right.
this is stuff that people I spent months trying to figure this stuff out till somebody like you said, hey, here, do this, right? And that's part of it. That's why you're such a good guide. And Sabrina, a lot of folks in the hounds are here. Sabrina Homer. Sabrina is dropping nuggets. Go look at her YouTube. Susanna Dawn. We got Omar. Oh my goodness. And we got Lewis Dickley. Thank good to see you, my friend.
Hey,
So
everybody.
yeah, oh my goodness. We still got I'm glad we got more time. I thought we was over. All right, so let me ask you this.
Hmm.
Because you know what they say, right? It ain't what you know, it's who you know.
Right.
So how do you personally, so when folks come into whatever you offer, right? One-on-ones, group, whatever it is that you're doing, totality, how do you help teach folks to make connections and not feel faker than a $3 bill doing it?
That goes back to what we discussed earlier, and that's being more interested in that person than what you're doing. In the sales game, everybody has experienced this where whether you're selling or being sold, you've got to listen to the other person. You've got to have more concern about what they're about than you do about your own self. One thing I learned early on is if you sit there and you're thinking, well, I'm listening to Mike trying to he's telling me what he needs and what he wants, and then I'm not paying attention because all I'm thinking about is what I'm going to say next. That's where you are faking it, and that is
Yeah,
a
you're a radio host at that point.
right, right. You need to be more concerned and genuinely listen. And I'm not a real fan of repeating what people say, but I know if you listen to people, you'll be able to communicate with them better. You've got to genuinely hone in on what they're telling you.
You know, let me expand on that a little bit. What do you think keeps us from doing that? Is it not knowing? Is it nerves? Is it stress? Is it just not having the familiarity? All the above.
Well, I think it's all of the above. I think nerves, especially if you're young in the networking game, at any level, if you're just getting your feet wet. I was originally, my first title coming into this coaching business was a networking coach, because that's what I specialized in. And I've been called the best connected person in Central Oregon. I didn't give myself that title, other people did.
Right.
And that's great. I am very well connected, and I usually attract what somebody needs. So had a client who needed a bookkeeper, and I was just doing my social media thing, and somebody popped up and left a comment about something, and I was like, okay, and there they are. They're connected now. So
Yeah.
that helps my client, it helps the other person. But it really, you've got to have that heart for other people to be successful. You really do.
Yeah, well, gosh, we gotta have you back. We gotta have a panel on the HOB Live. All right, so shameless plug. Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, folks. Tap into that. You're gonna get a lot of knowledge. We don't do cheap infomercials here. No. All right, we give value. So before we wrap this up like a Christmas gift, what's one piece of advice, right? Someone listening out there right now might be scared of walking into networking or just like, oh, this is pointless. Yeah. So what is your good advice to get them going?
Well, take somebody with you to begin with, but don't just hang out with them the whole time. You're going to have to make yourself a little uncomfortable if you haven't got somebody that's coaching you, like myself. You've got to make yourself, like I said, uncomfortable. I don't know any other way to put it. An example was I've taken clients to networking meetings when there were more one-to-one, face-to-face, in person. And literally I said, okay, you see that person that's by themselves across the room? I want you to go introduce yourself to them.
Yep. Sadie Hawkins style. Yes, sir. Grab her arm. What happened? What happened?
They came back and went, oh, good. Thank you. I mean, it just got the fear out. They got rid of the fear, whether it turned into anything or not. But I'll tell you another time I did that. I had a client at a fairly significantly sized ladies networking dinner. Well, as it turned out, my client sat next to somebody who needed my services. She sold them on me. I didn't even have to do anything. So yeah, it's all about just you're going to be uncomfortable, face it, but do it anyway.
Yeah, it's like the tsunami. You can wish it away, or you can learn how to surf on it. And That's what Janice does. That's why I love having her in the Hounds of Business. Because now, hey, look, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. So they might be Janice's cup of tea, vice versa. People say, oh, you collaborate. Listen, I mean, I don't mind to compete. You want to compete, let's do it. But I prefer to collaborate because it's more fun. We make more money together and we help more people together. But if you want me to be the Pepsi, Cheer, or Coke, I'll do that too. But yeah, folks, you hear it. So let me ask you, we only got a few minutes. Oh my gosh. I knew it's terrible. All right. I'm going to plug it, but JaniceDebo.com. All right. JaniceDebo.com. All right, go plug in, find out all the good resources she's building. She's coming up with some podcast stuff. We won't spill the beans. We'll keep you posted. All right. So let me ask you this. If folks want to take that first step working with you, what should they do right now when they hear this and this show wraps up? Where can they find you?
Jump on my website, send me an email, and just fill out the contact form. That'll get to me really quick on an email. My phone number may even be on there, but I can be found on Facebook, LinkedIn, and my Google page comes up pretty quick too. All of that. But email is fastest through my website, I'd say, Mike.
Yeah. Or you can also, I didn't plan on this. This is clever. You can also find her in the Hounds of Business community. What's that? Exactly. Yeah. So if you go to this recording on YouTube, folks, I'll put in our group call link and I'll put a link to Janice as well. Check them both out. Plug in. Look who's here. Like, dadgummit. I mean, the worst case, you got somebody who likes you that knows everybody and thinks about you. Well, that's awful, right? So, Janice, you're the real deal. That's all I wanted to do is share some wisdom. Thank you for doing that to our audience. Thank you, Hounds, for coming in and making this thing amazing. Sabrina has some really great comments. I'm super excited to have her and the rest of the folks in the Hounds. Janice, you're a rock star. So, hey, Janice Debo, D-E-B-O, JaniceDebo.com. Go check this out. Connect with her on LinkedIn. She's everywhere, literally. All right. So there's no way not to overlook her. Go plug in, see what she's got going on, and catch us on the next show, folks. It just gets more exciting. And our goal is to make sure that you walk away with, you can do this. You should do this. You will do this. You just got to keep finding people like Janice and communities like the Hounds and Mike King to do it, folks. So go take that step. Courage before confidence. All right. And we will catch you on the next one. Thank you so much, Janice. You're awesome. JaniceDebo.com.
Thank you, Mike.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.